Second time is a charm. I'd get there eventually. Good afternoon, Rotarians and guests, and welcome to the Rotary Club of Toledo. At this time, I'd like to ask past President Travis Tangerman to come to the podium to deliver a reflection and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Good afternoon, everybody. When I first joined Rotary, I was drawn to the four-way test, not just for its clarity, but for its power. Like many of you, I saw it as a moral anchor in a world that often drifts. But reading Martin Postix Jr.'s article, "The Four-Way Test Isn't a Tool to Judge Others," made me pause and reflect. Because I'll admit, I've sometimes used the four-way test the wrong way. I've looked outward when I should have looked inward. I caught myself using it to assess someone else's words or actions, as if Rotary handed me a gavel instead of a mirror. That article reminded me that our test isn't a checklist for others, it's a challenge for ourselves. Rotary doesn't ask us to be perfect, but it does ask us to be better. Better neighbors, better listeners, better versions of ourselves. And that starts with the question, is it the truth? Not someone else's truth, but your own. We live in a world of quick opinions, social media sound bites, and polarized conversations. But Postix's message reminds us that Rotary is different. We're not here to win arguments. We're here to build bridges. The four-way test isn't about drawing lines between us and them. It's about drawing ourselves closer to the values we believe in: truth, fairness, goodwill, and mutual benefit. So starting this week, I'm taking the test personally. I'm committing to using it not to judge, but to reflect. To ask myself, am I being fair? Am I building goodwill, or just proving a point? Am I speaking the truth, or just my version of it? I hope you'll join me, because Rotary isn't about service above self. It's about reflection before reaction. And that might just be what the world needs more of right now. Thank you. Please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I won't take it.
Thank you, Travis. As we begin our meeting, I'd like to thank and acknowledge Andres O'Neill and Lowe Insurance Agency as this month's sponsor, and Rotarian Katie Williamson. Is Katie in the room? I saw her at the golf outing. All right, well, Katie, thank you very much. Let's give her a round of applause. If anybody has any guests they'd like to introduce, Zach is in the center of the room with the microphone. Please head to the center of the room and introduce your guest with their name and where they work. Perfect timing. Just catch your boss mid-bite.
I'll wait until. I'd like to introduce my guest today, Dr. Sommerfeld, president of Owens Community College.
Dr. Sommerfeld, thank you for being here.
Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians and guests. Hopefully everyone got to spoil their mothers and their wives on this past Mother's Day weekend. Today I have with me my friend, is our guest today, Veronica Casper, who's the founder of A Step Beyond as a mental health specialist in a couple of the schools I'm connected with, so welcome her.
Veronica, thank you for being here.
President Kevin, today I have my audit colleague, Dalton Fry, with me from Raymond. Looking forward to hearing Kate's little presentation today.
Awesome. Dalton, thank you for joining us.
Kevin, thanks for having us today. I have Eric Trim with Praetorian Labs. They're the largest toxicology lab in Ohio.
Eric, thank you for joining us at Rotary. Josh, thanks for sharing.
Today I have two wonderful guests with me. The first is Sham Suchak. He's the COO of Ann Grady Services. I have the pleasure of calling him my boss. So if anyone has any formal complaints about me, he is the one to go to. The next person I have is Director of Early Childhood with Hope Toledo, Elisa Hage, and she happens to be my mother. So if you have a second set of, feedback, that would be the second person. So Sham and Elisa, welcome to Toledo Rotary today.
President Kevin. I'm Ashley Oakham, Greater Toledo Community Foundation, and I have Katie Fry here with Team Recovery Foundation joining us today.
Awesome. Katie, thank you for being here.
Thank you. Kevin, good morning.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Today I have with me a friend, mostly a friend, Earl Mack. He's with the Buffalo Soldiers, and you guys will be happy to know that Buffalo Soldiers, in partnership with the Toledo Rotary Club, the district, the Reynolds Corners Rotary Club, and the St. Mary's Rotary Club, took 50 kids from Stewart Academy and the Martin Luther King Academy down to a dairy in Salina, Ohio. And we all petted the cows and gave these kids an experience they would never have had without the Toledo Rotary Club. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Earl. Safe to say the work you're doing, Earl, is utterly amazing. You're welcome.
And now, after Kevin's chuckles, for fellow Rotarians, this is Laura McGath, who's a senior project specialist with our team.
Laura, thank you for being here.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'd like to introduce Brian Epstein. Brian is currently the managing member at Toledo Pickle. I just got a tour. If you haven't been to Toledo Pickle yet, you got to go. It's awesome.
Thursday, we will be there with Toledo Rotary. Brian, thank you for being here today. Thursday at 4 o'clock, Alex, is that right? Perfect. Thursday at 4, our Rotary Social at Toledo Pickle. We need one more player. Julia? Bring your mother. Perfect. All right. All right, speaking of Alex, show of hands, who was at the golf outing on Monday? Incredible job. Thank you. Can I have Alex and the committee stand? You guys did a wonderful job. Congratulations and thank you. We are still tabulating sponsorships and expenses. We believe that we have raised nearly $80,000. And this is just a quick recap of some of the fun that we had on Monday. Thank you to everyone. Thank you to Erie Home and the PDDP Fund at Greater Toledo Community Foundation, as well as Alex and the entire committee. You guys did a fantastic job. Alex says that was a double breaker. It just means he missed a lot. I don't know if you were keeping track of how many mulligans that was, but I think Alex does owe us a little bit of money on that. All right, in starting today's program, I first want to introduce President-elect Scott Hinshaw, as well as Jason Daniels, to discuss the club's strategic plan.
Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, as many of you will probably recall, we worked on the club's new strategic plan over the course of the last year or so. We've enlisted, of course, we enlisted for that the assistance of Mr. Jason Daniels in that effort, and Jason's going to give us a quick review of what we did and where we arrived at.
Woo! Great to be back with you, and great to see so many wonderful friends and smiling faces truly in this room. And whoever put the honey-baked ham on the menu, thank you. Yeah, it's going to be great. I just wanted to share just a few brief comments around the process of this strategy work. My company, J. Rahman, we were chosen to drive the strategic plan, and I just wanted to kind of give you a little bit of an update regarding like what that meant. And there's so many of you, because I see the LinkedIn comments each and every week that Jackie posts, and of course Yolanda Durden really should be like your marketing person, because she is constantly talking about the work that you all are doing and all of the new members that are coming in. When we started this journey last spring, we started with a comprehensive assessment of the organization. So we took a thorough look at a lot of data, and a big thank you to Jackie for all of the work that you did in working with us throughout this process. We went 10 years back, and I know some people would say, why did you go back that far? But there's a story to be told here about Rotary and the great work that you've continued to do over the years. And we looked at everything from the volunteerism numbers, and as you all know, we had something called COVID that took place as well. And so we know that for a lot of membership-based organizations, we couldn't gather for a period of time. So taking a look at those members who probably had not come back to the organization and what needed to happen strategically to get those numbers back to not only pre-pandemic, but probably even several years before that, those numbers. We took a look at the surveys that you all had taken in the past, as well as a lot of the philanthropy work that you all had done over the years, where you made investments strategically. We also looked at a lot of your really, what you would consider to probably be your signature causes that you wanted to invest in. So we took a look at that. We also spent time with the Strategic Planning Committee. We started the process meeting with each Strategic Planning Committee member. So we had one-on-ones with each of them. And I would just like to say, can we get a round of applause for the Strategic Planning Committee? They gave countless hours, time, feedback through this process, because they are Rotarians and they provided lots of really good information. From there, we did a comprehensive survey that you all took at that time, and it's hard to get above 80% of the population in any organization, even in companies, to participate in surveys, but you all provided robust feedback, not only in just the regular answers that you could rate, but in the fill the box, you fill the boxes, and you had lots to say about that. From there, as you know, last summer in July, I remember it vividly because the next day I was heading to Florida for 2 weeks, and so last July I was here and we did a strategic session with all of you in person as well. We thought we needed to take that next step of not just what the survey results said, but really giving you the opportunity to build out additional strategies and what are those big, hairy, audacious goals that you all had for the organization. From there, we created a strategic planning document and a work plan for the committee and for your leadership. And late last fall, that team took a deep dive into what that would look like. And so there's these, on your table, I think there's these, the 4 pillars at the end of the day. In what does this strategic plan need to look like for Rotary? And I can tell you, robust, not only engagement for recruitment for members was critical, but you also wanted to tell the community, boldly tell the community, and then I put a stamp on it and said, be proud about the work that you're doing find ways to not only partner, but to tell the Rotarian, the Rotary story, the Rotary Club of Toledo story, that you're alive and you're well. And I've continued to see that over these last several months. And so these pillars that you have in front of you, this is your work. I can honestly attest to the fact that so many of you, even after that June meeting, and well into the fall, will continue to call or see me at lunch or see me somewhere in the community, and you had lots to say. And then from that, this is what you have today. So it's my understanding that you all are adopting this strategic plan today. I think it's going to be great. I think there's a lot of work and strategy behind it. And you should be really, really proud of the leadership who helped to drive all of this work forward. And so I say kudos to you. I stand here with my Rotary tie. The last few times I was with you, I did not have this on, but I was a 2008 group study exchange student with Steve Day. Many of you remember him. We got very close in India for those 30 days, Steve Day, and I miss him dearly. We know that he's in heaven, but I just want to say, if anybody in this room, and I know you do, have even half of the heart that Steve had, you're going to do tremendous, tremendous work. And so I'll continue to be around and cheerlead for you. Thank you for your leadership, and give yourselves a round of applause for the great work and leadership that you have here at Rotary.
Thank you, Jason. We appreciate it. And we, the club board, sorry about my cold today. The club board and the strategic planning committee, finished the work on that plan. We adopted it, I think last month or a couple months ago, and it's been posted on the website. So the full strategic plan and the points of it are on our club's website, as well as some KPIs that are associated with it, right? So we wanted to have some way to value and also to judge ourselves on how we're meeting our plan. And so there is, from our bylaws, there is a strategic planning committee chair, and that's the vice president of the club. So as of next year, Donna Bogan will be chairing that committee. She'll have the committee meet twice a year so that they can evaluate where we are and monitor it, and then report back to the board on what we need to do to improve, to engage in and make sure we're following a strategic plan, or where we're doing it well. So just wanted to give you guys a recap on that. Obviously, that's an important aspect of also our club's effort in impacting community through what would previously been our transformational projects, right? So the transformational projects and our fund separately created for that purpose have been driven in the past. We're going to hear some about that today in the program. And so that's kind of the purpose of today, is what we want to do is potentially think about and talk about as a club, being able to focus in on something grander, right? Something like a transformational focus as opposed to just a project. And what we could do as a club is find an area of need within the community that we can fall behind. And then what we can do is take all aspects of our club to fall behind it, right? We can take our projects, our community projects, and our volunteer events. We can take our different grants that we give out during the course of the year, and we can follow it as a matter of our programming as well. So that's something I think we should talk about a little bit more today. And so I'm really excited to invite up and have lead for us today Kate Sommerfeld, who's the president and CEO of the Greater Toledo Community Foundation. She's going to talk to us about the legacy of our transformational impact, how we deliver grants, and the potential areas of focus for our future.
Well, thank you. President Kevin, I was holding my breath a little bit. I was not sure if you got a missed putt or not, but you didn't, so thank you for that. A blast. Thank you for the golf committee, everybody that planned it. It was a great day Monday, so thank you for that. And again, President Kevin, thanks for not including all my bogeys on there. On behalf of both Jim Lehman and the chair of the Foundation Rotary Club, we really want to have a discussion today. So Jason did a great job outlining, and on your tables, you'll see the 4 areas. The strategic priority number 1, increase community impact and strategic partnerships. And then the second strategic priority around strengthen member connection and engagement is really an opportunity for the club to think about, as Scott mentioned, what's the one project, if there is one, that might make the biggest impact, and how could we rally all those resources? So Jim and I today are going to tee up a little bit of history around the work the club has done. And then the bulk of our time is really going to be around discussions at your table, around, what would this look like? What's possible? Who else needs to be included and invited? And so that will be the lineup for today. To get started, just briefly, I have been at the Community Foundation for a whole 8 months, picking up for Keith Burwell, who's in the corner. Wave, Keith. After 20 years. And it's been an incredible honor and journey after originally coming to the area for my master's at BGSU. I worked at United Way, spent 10 years at ProMedica doing all community impact work and strategic partnerships, and then spent some time working with family philanthropy around the country in privately held companies. And so again, it's been 8 months, 6 months, I think, officially as a Rotarian, thanks to Brent Kuzno for engaging me as a Rotarian. And one of the things that's been really incredible to see, and certainly as I look around this room, is the power of Rotary. We come from all different walks of life, all different backgrounds, industries, likely different political beliefs, but at the core of a Rotarian is service above self and our commitment to community. And you look around this room and you think about the power, if we were to choose a project or a single focus to really drive impact, not only has a ripple effect to bring others along in the community, but ultimately to change for generations to come. Now I just need a tech. Kevin, how do I, oh, there we go. My PowerPoint game is much like my golf game, so we're gonna, am I supposed to point it somewhere? Flip the switch on the side. I need my glasses. Oh, it forwarded. Oh, just keep flipping? Okay. Oh, perfect. So golf and PowerPoints are on my to-do list. So we've got a brief time together, but as we're gonna really try to run through a lot of ground. The history of grant making and impact for Rotary. Jim's gonna come up and talk about some of the transformative projects that you've done. We're gonna talk at a high level what we're seeing in community, 2 areas that have been brought up by the club leadership around water quality and early childhood education. Certainly this spring we've had some great presentations from a BGSU professor who talked about the importance of the Lake Erie watershed and making sure we have healthy water. It looks like Rotary International, water might be their next issue. And then finally around early childhood education, obviously a lot of work is needed. We still as a community have a lot of ground to make up in comparison to communities of our size. And then we're gonna do breakout sessions all in 30 minutes, so hang with me. Okay, get us started. Questions, and I've got prizes. How many years did Rotary International have they been focused on Polio Plus? For how many years has Rotary International been focused on Polio Plus? And I have a prize, so if, how many years? 25, nope, not 25. I wanna give some, 35 years. For 35 years, Rotary International has a single focus on polio. I'll give someone the prize at the end, whoever's closest. Okay, second question. Name the school that in the early years of Toledo Club, Rotary helped establish. Yes, Fieldbach, got it. So just incredible work. We got a prize, we got 2 prizes. So as I mentioned, with the Community Foundation, we're really your partners in driving community impact. And as I've come on 8 months in, again, picking up for Keith, it's been really fascinating to understand the power of a community foundation and how we partner with Rotary. So the first community foundation was actually established in Cleveland by a man named Frederick Goff. And Frederick Goff was an attorney, and he was working very closely with Rockefeller when Rockefeller was building Standard Oil. And prior to 1914, philanthropy was always done one-on-one. So it was an individual of high means, high net worth, who was giving to a cause that they cared about, but it was always at an individual level, and it was always private. As Rockefeller decided to pull Standard Oil to leave Cleveland and to move to New York, Goff was really uniquely positioned to understand the loss to Cleveland of Standard Oil leaving and the Rockefellers leaving. And so at that point, he started to say, what would it look like if we were to pull people of all different backgrounds, all different means, to be able to give to causes collectively? And that's what started the first community endowment, the first community foundation. This idea that collectively we can have a community endowment that not only makes impact today, but ultimately in perpetuity, and that's what the foundation does. We just celebrated our 51-year anniversary, and so really proud and honored again to have a lot of great work. At a high level, the Community Foundation, we work with individuals, businesses, organizations like Rotary, private foundations to really drive community impact. Our assets sit just under $500 million, and we grant out in partnership with our donors, many who are in this room, around $28 million. When Kevin and I were first talking about what would it look like to pool and to have a catalytic project be focused at Rotary, one of the things that struck me is there's so many people in this room, so many businesses, individuals, other foundations that care deeply and are making really positive impact. Could Rotary be a catalyst in that work? What would it look like for Rotary to put a stake in the ground to rally individuals and community together to drive change for the generation? So with that, I'm going to turn it over and introduce Jim. Jim, I heard, has a nickname maybe many years ago. Jim has been the chair of the Rotary Foundation for 2 years, and apparently his nickname is Shorty. So please help me in welcoming Jim.
Thank you, Kate. Well, as you all know, our organization does two main types of grants into our community. We do the traditional grants, and we just finished our second cycle of this fiscal year's grant issuing. We are putting a little bit over $250,000 into local organizations, doing good work in our community, and that's because of everyone here. Those grants are limited to $10,000 so that we can spread the money among more groups. But today we're here to talk about transformational projects. When Rotarians come together, we can do big things. 35 years ago, as she mentioned, Toledo Rotary was one of the first Rotary clubs to join in Rotary International's efforts to eradicate polio, making a $100,000 donation to Polio Plus. Today, thanks in part to the Rotary International and Rotarians around the world, over 2.5 billion children have been vaccinated against polio. And today there are just 10 confirmed cases worldwide. When Rotarians come together, anything is possible. We've seen that in Toledo as well. Over 100 years ago, Toledo Rotarians came together to serve individuals with disabilities through opening of what is now known as Easter Seals, Glendale Fieldback School, and the Ability Center. And our investment and partnership continues to this day with members of Toledo Rotary, St. Francis Interact, and students from Glendale Fieldback attending Camp Day at Camp Mayaconda just a few weeks ago. In 1994, Toledo Rotary launched Partners in Education. For over 30 years, Partners in Education's programs have supported kindergarten through 12th grade students with literacy, tutoring, mentoring, and career readiness initiatives. Through school partnerships, Rotarians have volunteered as reading tutors and mentors, reinforcing that early intervention works. Most recently, in celebration of our club's 100th anniversary, Toledo Rotary made its largest ever donation to Metro Parks to establish the Middle Grounds Metro Park. As Dave Zank spoke about a month ago, this not only transformed a former industrial brownfield into a 28-acre urban oasis, it also laid the groundwork for Metro Parks Toledo's investments in East Toledo and along the river. Last month, Rotarians from around District 6600 gathered to serve the community, and the Rotary Roundhouse at Middle Grounds Metro Park was the gathering spot in the center of it all. Throughout our history, our club has invested time, talent, treasure, and influence over the years. Perhaps never more clear than following the 2014 water crisis when Toledo Rotary organized the inaugural Lake Erie Watershed Crisis Conference in October 2015. This day-long workshop was sold out to 300 plus scientists, officials, and citizens from Ohio, Michigan, and Ontario, collaborating on solutions to combat harmful algae. Rotary provided a neutral, nonpartisan platform funded entirely by our club to drive awareness and action on clean water. Our past proves that we can restore, or we can reshape Toledo, park by park, student by student, and life by life. As we look to the future, no matter where we make our investment, we know that It will be Rotarians coming together with shared values and aligned vision that will truly make a transformational impact on our community. Hope we have a productive discussion this morning at each of the tables. Thanks to Alex's efforts, we're building a good fund to work with in our community, and eager to see what we come up with. Thanks, Kate.
Thank you, Chair. So really incredible work. To dive into a little bit more detail, Jim mentioned the grants. So today, just a little bit of snapshot. So this is over the last 4 years, and you can see the total over $4 million has come in a request to Rotary, and we've granted out just under $1 million. So fantastic work. The average grant size is just under or just over $7,000. So there's small grants to a large group of organizations. You can see here there's a wide variety of different initiatives and supports. There's lots of nonprofit leaders that are in the room that I know that have received grant dollars from Rotary. And again, really good work happening in a lot of different areas. The question I think before us today is we look at the macro trends across our community. So we continue to see rising poverty levels, almost 25% in Toledo. We're seeing continued population decline. Certainly our water issues are not improving. And so the question I think for all of us who care deeply about our community and for the next generation, what do we need to think differently about? How do we need to partner? What are the things that we need to do to ultimately drive our community forward? I think it requires us to have a bold view, to think differently. Certainly the work that we've done, and this is true for the foundation as well, has been really good. We've had good results. We're seeing incremental progress. How do we start to dream big? How do we think about what a generation's change might look like? And is that at a good time for Rotary to think about stepping into that? Rotary International's goal at the high level is one world coming together to achieve one common goal. And as Jen mentioned, that was around polio. Let's eradicate polio. What would it look like for one Toledo coming together to achieve one goal? Not only those in this room and Rotarians, but you think about the ripple and the connections, other businesses, other social groups, other foundations, other nonprofits. Could we rally together? Is now the right time to rally together for change? We've had a lot over the spring, a lot of information around clean water, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time here. Huge thank you to all the work for Rotarians, the leadership in Northwest Ohio, even into Canada. I see Tim here as well, who's done just a yeoman's job around driving the connections, not only for clubs in Ohio, but even our Canadian clubs. Is there an opportunity in a moment for Rotary to take a powerful stand around water? Again, think about 35 years, Rotary International was focused on polio. It will take a long-term vision, but certainly worth it. Kindergarten readiness is the other area, and we had a giant session in partnership with Chicks for Charity earlier this spring. Obviously, a lot of excitement in the Blade and around the media around some of the efforts there, but the fact remains, early childhood education is critical to our community. Communities our size have figured it out, and ultimately it's going to cost us in the long run if we don't figure it out. So complex, certainly a lot of things have happened in the last couple of months, but it does not change the fact that as a community, early childhood education and ensuring that our earliest kids are ready for kindergarten so that they can go to high school and become productive citizens is important, but another issue that the club has really looked at. So, those two issues, they're at your table. We're going to do some group exercises and conversations. So we've got 20 minutes. We're going to spend 10 minutes as a group. There would ask for a scribe. There are great chocolates from Mommy Valley Chocolate Company, so whoever's going to be a scribe. There's also team captains at each table. There's 3 questions we would want you to ask today. So first, what impact is possible if Rotary focused on one transformational project? And if so, is now the right time? Second, between water and education, where can you have the biggest impact with our time, talent, and treasure? And then third, based on the issue, whether it's water or education that your table selects, what other partners? Who else should we be engaging in this work? We're going to be taking notes, and the club leadership as a follow-up is going to be compiling all this as we think about the next steps into the strategic plan. So 3 questions at the table. Don't be shy. Look to your left, look to your right. If you don't know someone, introduce yourself. Again, at the table, these questions are here, and we'll spend 10 minutes discussing, and we'll come back together to report out as a group. Thank you. Okay, 3 more minutes, 3 more minutes. So if you haven't gotten to all 3 questions, keep moving, 3 minutes. Okay, did we reach consensus? Did we solve all of Toledo's problems? Oh, you're still talking, that means that's a good thing. I love it when hands are flailing. You know you're passionate about something. All right, we're going to bring it back. We're going to bring it back. Okay, we're going to have some small table report out. So whoever wants to share, if you had a robust discussion, Kevin has a mic, I believe, and we're just going to have some report out to get a pulse in the room, just starting with this first question. What impact is possible, and is now the right time? Who wants to share? I can also just call on folks, too. Who wants to share? What did your small table discussions, what was the flavor?
All right, Carol is the first up.
I'll break the ice. Well, my table decided that Rotarians can do anything, so the impact that we have can be great. We talked about polio and what we've done with polio. We are all influential people. We have a ripple effect on our community and communities around the country and around the world. And we have a lot of energy and connections and publicity, and that's why our impact can be great.
Thank you. Gary is up.
I represent a very good table. They ate all their food.
Not competitive at all either, right?
No. We had a good discussion, but we went right quickly to pre-K. We got only so much time, so much money, and we know that there's a lot of dollars out there in the state of Ohio and the federal government that's working on making a difference on water, and it is very legislative. But pre-K hits locally, it hits our homes. And you look at the efforts we have in pre-K, it was brought up that we have the lowest pre-K efforts maybe in the state of Ohio. We need to look at what contributes to some of the issues that developmental, such as the lead issue that crosses over into having children not ready for school because of some lead poisoning. We look at, we could be a real leader player in the pre-K area because our influence could lead to others. And that's what got us into others, because we look at who else could be part of this, and it could be the other clubs in the area, Toledo Community Foundation, the city of Toledo, TPS, universities, corporations, but brought out more of just the smaller corporations, the middle market corporations, the companies that have their family foundations. These are local, they made their money locally, they are focused on local results. Those are untapped resources. So these are some of the thoughts, and we said that let's do what we can do to win in the pre-care area.
Thank you.
I will add to Gary's comments. This table had a lot of energy, quickly zeroed in on education, and relative to the impact and the timing, the state of Ohio's cuts relative to the early Head Start is going to impact where we're at now and where we're headed. So timing is important. We certainly put a lot of weight on comments related to water, but zeroed in on education as a priority. There's so many opportunities for partnerships through our region as well.
Thank you. Oh, I see.
Thank you, Dean. Thank you, Gary. Greg?
Well, we came to the same conclusion with respect to education at our table. I think the telling thing was that we would be a very small drop of water in the water issue, and we could be a very significant player within the education community, particularly since there are so many entities already headed in that direction, particularly the mayor's initiative, et cetera. So we came out the same way as the other two tables so far.
Greg, thank you very much.
Well, I would argue about who had the greatest table, because we have the greatest minds sitting around our table, but we also focused in on education, and I think Keith Burwell, before he had to leave or move or whatever, said it best, that the water issue really involves regulatory issues, and do we really want to be involved in lobbying and government relations? So that kind of ended that discussion. In terms of education, you know, our friend at Partners in Education and a lot of us discussed the fact that there are a lot of people working on this issue, but they're working in silos. They're working on it individually with individual programs that are very well intended and perhaps very well executed, but there's no overall leadership on this issue that we think that Rotary could provide. I lived in Dayton for 4 years, and I saw the launch of Preschool Promise in Dayton. We're now 7 or 8 years behind Dayton in that effort if we were starting an effort today. So time is of the essence, and we're supporting the not only pre-kindergarten education, but early childhood development.
Thank you. Thank you, Kelly. Bill?
Thanks, Kevin. My table members all wonder what I'm going to say. I think one of the takeaways from our discussion was when we reflect on the Middle Grounds project, you know, that was a project that had less complex stakeholders than what we see with these, and it was also something that had a more specific and tangible outcome that was defined and was maybe easier to put to a timeline than some of these projects. And so looking at both of these, they're complex, multi-stakeholders, maybe have some political overtones attached to them. Education can have complex family dynamics. And so recognizing that we're kind of treading into areas that are complex and hard to define, probably the single biggest suggestion was that we would probably, if we picked education or water, but if we kind of leaned more towards education, we need to focus on a small pilot or a specific narrowed neighborhood for results to prove the concept and be able to see the tangible results of our efforts, to be able to deal with the fact that, you know, we're a volunteer club, we have changing leadership, and to be able to give it the focus that it would need to be sustainable.
Thank you. We also have about 40 people that are online on Zoom that also weighed in, so thanks to Zara Collins for facilitating that discussion. They also leaned the way of education. And for a lot of the same reasons, there was talk about focusing on specific neighborhoods, partnering with organizations to be able to track impact there. I'm trying to read through the notes that Zara took. She said, investing in programs that will develop talent, build skills in our youth, and also encourage them to stay in Toledo to use those talents.
Thank you. So our table pretty much is lockstep with everything you've already heard. The mention of timing, we took in a slightly different area, which is we have a really exciting opportunity in this room and also one that's also a challenge. And that is that 50% of this club has been here for less than 2 years. So there is a history that has not necessarily been brought along of what this club has done in the past, of what type of efforts we've put forth. So there is a challenge involved that involves everybody in this room right now, which is bringing the amount of energy with all of our new members, harnessing that so that everybody here can focus together on whatever path we go and bring with us the history we have. So it is an opportunity, but a challenge at the same time.
Amazing. Well, thank you for comments. Oh, we have one more hand, Kevin, and then.
No, it was this table that had the dynamic conversation, some smart minds here. We did not, though, land on one issue over another. We had some really great conversation on the fact that both of these issues, whichever one we end up going toward, it needs to be addressed differently. That, you know, in the past, that we've had such a focus on the symptoms, but not the core issues. We said they're both focus areas for our, you know, grants. A number of our members, you know, are in both of these issues, so they are both very important. But really, you know, early intervention on either problem is going to be critical. But we did really lean in. A lot of our conversation was around the pre-K, but we, you know, really didn't get into that. We need more time. There's so many great ideas, but definitely need more time.
Well, thank you. This was a fantastic discussion. Again, appreciate everybody's energy and passion. I know from the notes from the table, both Kevin and Scott and Jim and team will be taking all those notes. This is the first of many conversations around how we think about the work. Real quick, I want to give a shout out to my team. So the Community Foundation is in partnership with Rotary. So if you're on the Greater Toledo Community Foundation team, if you can just raise your hands. I see Patrick over. Just know that there are people on both issues that are passionate, that are engaging, that are investing, and stand ready as your partner. So wherever your journey lands as a club, excited to be a part of it and help to support. Thank you.
So I really appreciate everybody's participation today. This has been super helpful. I think what we're going to do is obviously we're going to collect all the information everybody's talking about today. Your table captains are going to bring it back to the board. The board's going to continue to digest this as well. But I think what we're really kind of trying to find out is how can we make the best impact, a strategic impact, a smart impact for Toledo and going forward. We have about $182,000 in that transformational fund right now. Alex and his group just put in quite a bit more after the golf fundraiser. So this is something that's going to be really, you know, it can be more and more significant as we move forward going through the next several years of trying to fundraise for this. So thank you again for your time. I appreciate it. And we'll be talking about this more.
I heard from a number of you that this is a conversation that, you know, we need more time on. The reality is we could talk for the next 3 years about this and weigh in. I think, you know, Rotary we're a people of action, and so we're excited to continue these conversations, but with a focus on action. What we're going to do to help make sure that everybody in the club has had a voice, as we're also, in addition to the notes that we're gathering from each of the tables, we are going to send these 3 questions out in a survey to each of you to be able to weigh in with your thoughts so that everybody's voice is heard as the board and foundation weigh in and sort of help provide some leadership and guidance on this. Kate, thank you very much. We appreciate your leadership throughout this entire process, not just today, but to get up to this point. Thank you for everything you're doing for the community. As is tradition with Toledo Rotary, this is your first chance speaking to us. So we're going to send you home with a copy of Historical Tales of Toledo. That'll look great in your office. I'm assuming Keith took his with him when he left. And so we'll restock that shelf for you. That's right. We're also going to make a donation in your name to Rotary International's Polio Plus Fund to join with their efforts to eradicate polio. As Jim Lehman had mentioned, there's just 10 cases in the world right now. And so because of Rotary International's focus, we are this close. All right. Next Monday, we are joined by Rotarian and Toledo Athletics Director and Vice President Brian Blair to highlight the upcoming concerts at UT's Glass Bowl, as well as other work in the athletic department. This concert will be the first time the Glass Bowl has hosted concerts since 1994. Does anybody remember what that show was? The Beach Boys. Raise your hand if you were in attendance. I was 13 years old. I'm just trying to feel young. I'm trying to feel young for a minute. Give it to me, all right? If you were born after 1994, shut it. I don't want to hear it, Julia. All right. Lastly, for any new member who's here today, please head to Summit A. That's where we're going to have our new member orientation. We are excited to have so many new members. Just real quickly, Travis mentioned that over half of the room is new in the last 2 years. Just, can I have the folks who have joined or rejoined Rotary in the last 2 years, please stand. I love it. Thank you for being here. All right, we got a lot of work to do. Let's get to it. Go out, make it a great day. We are adjourned.